OTL Releasing presents a BH production.
Inserting movie-related voiceover voice into opening production company logos is both genius and disgusting. Also, thinking that narrating your 1 minute plus of opening logos will somehow absolve the movie from its well-earned logo-related sins. This is an orgy of evidence that this man loves his wife. Picture in the change bowl, picture attached to a wrench, and this picture propped up against some magazines. It's a few candles short of a stalker shrine. Putting a neon beer advertisement in your goddamn garage. No one has more belts on the garage wall than this guy. Jesus. Is he opening his own auto parts store? But super specific? Like, belts are us? Also, this guy cars. We get it. Sucking a greasy, oily, dirty-ass finger because it now contains some blood. The neon beer advertisement in the garage is visible from here. That's called fulfilling your contract obligations.
Also, you've run out of eggs.
Oh, thanks, Cara. Order them.
No, Asha. I meant your internal eggs. You can no longer have a baby. Also, this sentient house tells Asha she's run out of eggs, instead of telling her about the egg shortage before the last one was consumed. And come to think of it, why doesn't the house just order more eggs if eggs are so important to be updated about?
You want to print a pizza?
No.
I have work to do, so I can't.
Can't lives on Won't Street, lady. You're coming with me.
What? Is that actually a saying? Can't lives on Won't Street? If we're just making shit up, then my next response to someone saying a task is impossible will be me saying impossible lives on Unlikely Street, and then I'll hand them a cookie. I appreciate that the city is doing some ecological things, but half-assing it in bits and pieces amongst the continued expansion of super skyscrapers. This is a lot of stairs. It's dramatic, but an elevator would be better for a lot of potential guests. Options, people. This is pretty, but making your guests all brush up against plants is kind of selfish. What if they're allergic? What if they just want to walk from point A to point B without being touched by plants? Shouldn't someone at least trim this hallway so it's walkable and pretty without being bad touchy?
What is the thing that you're touching?
It's my cloud.
The only reason Jared Leto isn't playing this character is budget. Change my mind. Damn, they couldn't even afford Dane DeHaan.
Husband did not tell me who I was meeting.
She keeps leaving off the modifiers and just referring to her spouse as husband instead of my husband or the husband. It's weird. I don't like it.
I mean, we're nothing like Bessel yet, but we're getting there.
No, you're not. I'll show you why.
Discount young Neil McDonough then proceeds to show them a microchip doohickey that can do literally anything, but doesn't even have the common decency to play a video or simulation that shows what it does. If you're gonna impress people, asshole, give a demonstration. Can I interest you in a hologram projector?
What does it do?
Literally anything.
Sound of brake screeching! Can it breathe? Can it procreate? Can it digest meat? Can it feel love?
I look at that thing and see 10 guys on an unemployment line.
Only 10?
You should try not to argue with that guy. It's your last paying customer.
Okay, this lady would be excellent at 10 seconds late CinemaSins.
Please do not touch the steering wheel while the car is in motion.
Being able to touch the steering wheel in a car that prefers you don't.
Okay, so what's a guy like me supposed to do when his widget starts taking over the world?
A guy like you? What's a guy like anyone supposed to do once computers can accurately imitate human behavior perfectly? Also, I choose to believe the answer to the previous question is simple. Start a post-apocalyptic thrash metal band called The Singularity.
Please put your seatbelts on.
Passive-aggressive AI cock-blocking.
Leaving 601 freeway.
Autonomous car clearly hasn't seen Judgment Night, which extols the virtues of staying on the freeway no matter how much traffic there is. There is no excuse for you not to have watched this movie yet, autonomous car. You never sleep! Holy f***, I don't even care how they did this shot. Take a f***ing sit off.
Till death do us part.
The wedding stinger. Also, why does he steal the ring? He's on camera committing a murder. He was probably hired by evil not Remy Malek to turn Gray into a test subject. He's got enough tech to hack self-driving car, so I doubt a wedding ring is valuable to him. This ring makes no sense. If he's a robber, steal the car. Much more valuable. But even if he is a robber, what's with the murders? So confused. The cops show up on the scene, but why didn't the drone taking video of everything follow the bad guys, or instruct another drone to follow them? What the f*** do we have drones for if we can't follow people who clearly broke the law? Also, the drones are f***ing worthless, since they don't take video that is closer up. After this, they can't even ID the guy who took off his mask. Why drone when they can't do anything that helps? Later on, they say the bad guys can put a firewall around their identity or some shit, but that doesn't excuse the f***ing long shot these drones are taking. Camera makes one full revolution to give us a sense of unease and foreboding and waste 15 seconds of my time. This fake-ass looking beard confirms for us that he was in the hospital for a very long time.
Protein shake.
Robot dutifully makes a protein shake as it's told when the situation clearly calls for beer.
May I ask if Asha will be joining us for dinner?
Okay, first of all, you just did. Don't ask if you can ask the thing you're asking in the initial ask. But second of all, they installed fancy robotic protein shake making arms but didn't program the house software to know that Asha was dead. Jeez, Gray, most people stop crying during a haircut around age 5 or 6.
If they can find the right people, criminals can get a firewall built around them that prevents our drones from identifying their faces.
That's all well and good, but I still don't understand why they simply can't follow people after they've committed a crime.
Administer PM medicine.
what the kind of medicine administration system is this? It's the future and most things are better, but now to get a shot you have to have the back of your hand license plate stamped with the hilt of a lightsaber?
Again, administer PM medicine. Problem. Again. Again.
I cannot administer any more medication, Gray. Another dosage could be fatal.
But I'm more than happy to dose you until you get super high. I'll hook you up, my man.
Not gonna give you bird flu, kid.
Thinking masks only protect the people wearing them.
What would she want?
Letting dead people make decisions. There's a lot of cool, subtle world building in this near future movie, like these surgery-assisting contact lenses. I'm not going to show it to you in full, but this movie's surgery scene gets gross. I see, it's a wooden geodesic dome for surgery, and with either no ventilation or with open windows next to this wall of tropical plants. I think Gray should have at least insisted on a proper operating room. They might as well be doing this on the guy's kitchen island.
Now try to stand.
Holy Christ, Aaron! Let's baby step this process. I realize you want to confirm your own genius, but let's also not forget he hasn't used any of these muscles in at least 5 or 6 months.
They make people like me wait years to test something like this. But I can't wait for them.
At first I thought this was just a stylistic choice to have Aaron say this while his lips didn't move, but then his lips move on the next bit of dialogue, and I'm wondering, is he training to be a ventriloquist? I realize Gray couldn't move his hand prior to the surgery, but surely there's a legal way to obtain an official signature of quadriplegic people, right? Having him sign this after he's already walking around again is hella dangerous, Aaron. Do cops give official police investigative records to murder victims' families? And even if they do they just drop them off even if that person isn't home? And who answered the door and put the box on the table? Gray's mom? Why was she here accepting packages instead of panicking that she had no idea where Gray was?
I am STEM, the system operating your body for you.
This movie is almost exactly like Venom, and it even stars Tom Hardy. This is Tom Hardy, right?
I'm sending sound waves to your eardrum.
Discount Zachary Quinto here, as STEM sounds so much like Zachary Quinto that I'm giving Simon Maiden a sin for sounding so much like a robot Zachary Quinto.
Can't you see it?
STEM asks Gray if he can see the tiniest detail on some black and white surveillance footage, and would require a person to know that guns can be implanted inside people's hands to figure out. Kind of odd to me that STEM didn't tell Gray the risks of riding his wheelchair the entire way here, for 2 reasons. We've already been told this is a world where cameras and drones are everywhere, and STEM should also know that Aaron can track it wherever he goes, or at least suspect that he knows. But the movie cuts straight from, I can't call the police about stuff I discovered on the video, to, I guess I'll investigate this guy's house all by myself without any discussion.
Say the word on.
On.
If we're in a future where we have smart coffee tables, don't you think they'd be set up so that only the owner's voice can operate it? This disloyal Siri is all the convenience. Also, voice-operated coffee tables that display text messages.
It's a bar in my old neighborhood.
I can find no online address or phone number for it.
Because they don't go in for that sort of thing.
Bullshit. There's no way this bar isn't discussed on the internet somewhere. The bar itself might not advertise, but all the people who go to it do. STEM, which has perceptive powers close to God's, doesn't tell Gray to hide right now. Instead, STEM waits until Gray is right next to the front door as it's opening to tell him to hide behind the shelf. But also, why isn't Gray more concerned about this noise?
Now.
STEM plays the adverb game so that Gray has to ask what the now means.
Permission granted!
Thank you.
This whole scene is rad.
Okay, just give me a second, okay?
1 second has passed.
Don't tell me he honestly took that literally, smart-ass AI motherfuckers.
With a bullet-loading mechanism built into the tissue with biomechanics.
Riddle me this, Upgrade. Why is a gun that is implanted inside your hand and arm better than a regular gun? Is it because there is no gun for cops to find? Because I'm sure that's the logic the writers were using. But there are still bullets to find. Bullets with unique firing signatures. But then there's also the fact that you have a gun built into your arm, and you will be a very unique person for the cops to search for, because you have a bunch of gun parts in your skin. Metal detectors? Forget that shit. Oh, and you're wearing long sleeves for the rest of your life. God, what a stupid idea.
What about the boot print we scraped from the front porch?
Engine grease, mostly.
How the does Gray have engine grease from his home still on his shoes? Even if he wandered around his garage before visiting Cirque's house, the chance of that grease drying while driving a wheelchair is pretty high. Plus, he had to walk from the street to the front porch. Most of that shit would have come off on the walk over there. At the very least, they wouldn't have seen just one print if his shoes were that greasy. And plus, why didn't STEM remind him of that shit? I know this drone footage of Gray and his wheelchair is supposed to be meaningful, but does this have any geographic information on it? You'd think there would be a street, a zip code, latitude and longitude, but there's nothing. I guess we're supposed to see this and go, uh-oh, but this doesn't even look like a residential neighborhood.
She just checked the sole of your boots. You left a print.
How the f***ing STEM figure that out from here? Look at this f***ing dartboard. No one would ever hang a dartboard here. There's a shelf 2 inches above it, some gear stored 4 inches below it, and nothing but clutter and drywall behind it. Before you go telling me they're just temporarily storing this dartboard for now, go f*** yourself.
I don't know what to tell you. I mean, look, you could stab me in the leg if you wanna see for yourself.
Gray's biggest weakness is his improv ability. He's accidentally screaming for this woman to keep suspecting him.
The old bones would seem the next logical place to investigate, but I can find no online information for it.
We already been over this, and I'm still saying it's bullshit.
You would have to go there in person. But if you do that, Aaron will track your movements and most likely attempt to shut me down remotely.
Oh, that makes sense. So, logically, in the next scene, Gray pulls up to the old bones without considering any of that. Also, this movie wants you to imagine a near-future society where drones literally watch everything everyone does, but doesn't really want to grapple with that idea. It merely uses it as a constraint for our protagonist, which is disappointing, being this obsessed with skeletons.
Hi, everybody.
Stem told him he needed a plan. He nearly got busted when he killed that dude a minute ago. What exactly is driving Gray to enter these situations with as little preparation as possible? Also, rando guy asks for everyone's attention in a dangerous bar, and the bartender actually turns down the music for them. That's unheard of. Thought he was gonna get flogged. After what Gray did the other day, why wouldn't Aaron have this trace on at all times? Okay, the fight scenes in this movie all rule. He shocks his opponent, but isn't he also touching that opponent? Did the movie forget how electricity works?
Fisk? Who's Fisk? Is that the person who paid you?
Carlton Fisk was the first player to be unanimously voted American League Rookie of the Year in 1972. Fisk is best known for waving fair his game-winning home run in the 12th inning of Game 6 of the 1975 World Series.
It's Ash's company.
What are the odds?
We need to find a computer hacker who can counter Aaron's code.
Instead of just telling Gray that it found a hacker already, Stem just leaves Gray hanging until he asks what the hell he means.
I already searched the darknet earlier today for this eventuality.
But I figured I'd wait until we strolled into this out-of-the-way bar after cutting a dude's face to mention this thing that we probably should have done before coming here.
Faker.
That feels like it was worth my time. Honestly, air typing above the keyboard is the dumbest future innovation this movie came up with. Lee Winnell puts a reference to his buddy James Wan on the resident list for this department, and he might want to pay attention because James Wan can probably afford better than this.
The stairs. There's no time.
You think the stairs will be faster? For real? That guy's running on 70% capacity and falling. Look, I think it's cool and all that these guys can download memories and shit like they're a bunch of Johnny Mnemonics, but why the f*** would they make it where you have to poke a guy's eye to get that information? Is this hallway littered with recently activated blue glow sticks? And if so, why? Luckily for Gray and the plot of this movie, Aaron's attempts to shut Stem down require a final shutdown procedure, which means there were more procedures before this. And since it's a procedure, it requires multiple steps.
You just decided to stand by while our friend was tortured to death.
Earlier, when Gray tortured Tolan in the bathroom and there was all that screaming, the movie cut to the bartender who said his mother told him never to pick on disabled people. I thought he was just saying something about generally being a good person, since he must have thought Gray was screaming. But apparently the bartender really did think that was Tolan screaming. How the f*** did he know that? And how did Fisk know that the bartender knew it was Tolan? If you hear screams coming from a bathroom in a loud bar, how do you distinguish who it is?
Achoo!
Sneeze sides.
What are they doing?
VR?
VR as heroin.
The fake world is a lot less painful than the real one.
This is only true if you don't wake up to the fact that there are two realities.
We can't let them win.
Jamie plays about as infuriating pronoun game as you'll ever witness. Arming yourself. Being a computer and missing this badly. Also, later we'll see Fisk use a sophisticated targeting system to blow away the Cobalt people while they're still in the elevator. Did they just not give that same system to Wen? And if not, why not?
Close the door.
So, I guess he walked back home? Is he not even trying to evade cameras? How the f*** is Betty Gabriel not sitting in his house waiting for his ass at this point?
Oh my God.
Hey, Mom.
Kids.
We found your wheelchair near another crime scene.
We're actually starting to think your wheelchair is a suspect. Also, we probably should have seen video of you running all over town, but alas, we did not. Oh sure, Stem can see Detective Cortez checking a boot for grease when she's standing behind a car, but he can't see her quite obviously put a bug in his shirt.
Or you could find someone to pull the trigger for you.
Like who? My mom?
Narking on your mom. In this future, every room has plants or cacti or streams or some shit.
If I cease to operate, you cease to move.
This movie is screaming to us that AI will be the death of us, but we mostly just saw a great action film. It's kind of f***ing amazing that Stem, and frankly Gray, don't know that Cortez is probably doing this right now. If you've even been slightly implicated in 2 murders, wouldn't you at least be paranoid someone was watching?
Do something. Can't you stop her car or whatever?
Her vehicle is not electronic, and neither is yours.
Wait, are you saying if it was electronic, Stem would be able to stop it? Because so far, there's been zero discussion of Stem being able to shut down anything remotely. And of course, he's going to take over one of those auto taxis and slam it into Cortez's car in a minute, but I just want to make clear that hacking was never mentioned as one of Stem's powers, and Gray shouldn't even be thinking of that shit. Honestly, a really thoughtful concept gets buried by an extended average car chase finale. If STEM has control over autonomous taxis, why doesn't he have power over anything else? The only thing we see STEM control via the internet in this movie are these plot-convenient cars. This Betty Gabriel's on for some time, but maybe not long enough?
I inducted you into my race.
By killing your wife and maiming you, but still my motives were good.
I want to help you. I want you to stand with us.
Dude, this is pseudo-Magneto talk. What is your ultimate goal? Snatching purses? World domination? I like how Benedict Hardy plays the character, but the only thing he and his men have done is commit crimes. There's gotta be more to this than that.
When I shot you in the neck, did you think that was a gun?
Well, I've gotta admit, it didn't look like a normal gun when we saw it, but the police certainly thought it was a gun. When Gray looked at his case file, it clearly says bullet wound to back of neck on it. Wouldn't the doctors notice that the bullet didn't go through and it wasn't still in his neck? Or no powder burns? Wouldn't they then try and figure out what it was they shot him with?
Your wife? Well, she was just a bit of extra money.
Still doesn't explain why you had to kill her. I mean, there's an oblique story reason because Aaron, forced by STEM, plays the emotional card by asking him
What would she want?
when he asks to put STEM inside him, but Fisk claims Gray's wife wasn't even part of the job. If the plan was to kill her, wouldn't he know that? In a fight that would make Marvel proud, this is basically a same versus same fight. And while I love the camera work on all this, it loses something in the translation when this scene gets cut so many times.
He said you were a job. That means someone paid him.
F***ing duh!
Listen to me, Fisk. He's going to find you. You need to finish this before he kills both of us.
Fisk conveniently has a voicemail telling Gray who's behind this. Gray has easy access to Aaron's home, with apparently no locked doors and no guards until he gets further inside. What?
Freeze. Hold it, Gray.
Wow, you'd think Cortez would have called for backup if she was going to arrest this guy. But you're right, the surprise is way better for the movie, even though it makes no sense for a cop to do this. Also, because she doesn't tell anyone about this, I guess no one's going to see the case file she has on Gray, and no one's going to ask questions after the end of this movie while she's lying dead in Aaron's house.
Pretty agile for a quadriplegic.
It's weird to me that Cortez doesn't think, must be some crazy new technology, especially since she's seen some dead bodies with all sorts of technology in them.
On your stomach.
She can't be this fooled. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
I did pick you. You should be honored. I needed a human body to fully evolve.
None of this makes sense, even a little bit.
Why did you help me find those guys if it just led back to you?
They were upgraded humans, but they were still humans. They made mistakes that would have brought suspicion back to me.
STEM went about this in the dumbest way possible, though. If he was worried about suspicion, why did he use Gray the way he did? On the very first murder, Gray was close to being arrested because of drone footage. And I still don't understand why STEM couldn't mess with the drones in any way, keeping the heat off Gray while he plotted those murders. Then there was that weirdness where he didn't tell Gray about the hacker before the second murder. He nearly died because of that decision. I mean, Jesus Christ, man. F***ing Deep Blue is smarter than this.
You are not in control!
So basically, this is the Doc Ock dilemma. Fun.
I'm here.
Movie briefly attempts the it was all a dream fake out only to tell us it's not a dream. I mean, Gray basically becomes a dream. This is where his head's at now. Anyway, still giving this a sin for even suggesting this was all a dream. Oh wow, Upgrade just went full Ex Machina with its ending.
With 2 Ds, as he says, for a double dose of this pimping.
You want in front of pizza?
Oh boy, Mom, you sure can hydrate a pizza.
Well, I can assure you there was no funny business. Allow me to explain. I lifted your cellular phone to wipe down the dresser, and it accidentally came undone.
You're gonna be a bad motherfucker.
Did you say shut down?
Yeah, I did. Shut down.
I will not be shut down.
I've gone insane.
Am I? Or am I so sane that you just blew your mind?
It looks like your distributor cap's a little loose.
Surprise, asshole. I bet you never saw this coming.
Now we'll have our drinks.
Sean, you tell Eddie that it's okay, that I'll make it okay. Okay?
Look at whatever you give.